Hello everybody, it's Friday, April 5th. Let's talk PlayStation. Is Sony doing another PS4 event before E3? PCMag.com thinks so, or at least their source thinks so. Apparently their source is saying that Sony's going to have another PS4 event around April or May, showcasing more PS4 information. Now, of course, there are still a lot of things we don't know about the PS4, namely what the actual console even looks like. But of course, there's still E3 also, on top of this possible event that may be coming up. So we're not exactly sure what they're going to be showcasing and where they're going to be showcasing it. It's worth noting that we did just have GDC, but there still wasn't that many details that came out about it. So, of course, there's still a lot of information to go around. It's also worth noting Microsoft hasn't even announced the next Xbox yet, and they're rumored to do so around April. So if a PS4 event's around April or May, that just may be a way for Sony to sort of take away the limelight from Microsoft, which would definitely demonstrate that Sony is really getting competitive this time around. Now, personally, I don't see Sony doing a second event before E3, although usually if rumors come out about Sony, they usually are true, so who knows? I would say it's a possibility, especially since there's still a lot of stuff we don't know about PS4, and Sony definitely wants to, stay in the media and news and just being out there and getting all this hype built up for PS4 by doing another event before E3. But of course, with next Xbox rumors really ramping up, Sony definitely wants to stay in the spotlight, and a second event would definitely do that. Now, in a not so surprising news story, GameStop is saying that there is strong purchase intent for the PS4, with over 900,000 customers signing up on GameStop.com to be the first to know about PS4 information. Whether you like GameStop or not, they are inside the industry, they do know a lot of things, and they do understand how the industry works and what's going to sell and what's not going to sell, and it's interesting to get these numbers from GameStop to sort of gauge that, PS4 interest. And come on, let's face it, 900,000 people going to GameStop.com willingly and willingly giving them their email address to GameStop? Come on. Let's just hope that the PS4 is in good supply for North America, because if you remember the PS3 launch, people died over that thing. A moment of silence for those brave souls that died for the PS3. Now, for the people that want to know the capabilities of the PS4's actual power and what it can do for graphics, David Hayter from Quantic Dream and Epic Games has actually come out to say a few things. Mark Rain of Epic Games basically said the PS4 is capable of super crazy stuff, and he also talked about how it's basically the most perfect gaming PC, which would make sense because the architecture is pretty much like a PC. And David Cage basically said that if you think Beyond Two Souls looks good, you're going to be amazed what their PS4 title's going to be. These developers in Sony are talking big game, let's just hope they live up to it. So the indie games just are not stopping. Stealth Bastard is coming to PS3 and Vita in summer 2013. Again, awesome. Sony's working with these indie developers. Awesome. And of course, PS3/Vita. I love that these games are coming out on both platforms. And even more games, Sony is not stopping with the exclusives. Sony has just filed a patent for Destiny of Spirits. And that's all we know, really. They filed a patent under Sony Computer Entertainment. That means it is under the PlayStation division. It's listed as video game software. And since it's a patent, it's only for Sony. So who knows? We gotta wait and see. But, this is another PlayStation exclusive. There's no doubt about it. Sony is cranking out exclusives like it's going out of style. And hey, they're a business. Sony's got to get exclusives on PlayStation. People buy PlayStation, Nintendo and Microsoft got to bump it up a little bit. Then Sony's got to bump it up a little bit. And us as consumers get to sit back and enjoy the awesome games. So a lot of people are upset that David Hayter is not voicing Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5. And, Kojima has said, they want to take a new direction. And now we're hearing back from David Hayter, and it's, for me at least, it's really sincere how he's talking about it. There's nothing I love more in the video game industry than people that are passionate about their jobs, and apparently David Hayter loved playing the role of Snake. When David found out he wasn't needed for Metal Gear Solid 5, he actually felt a little sick to his stomach, apparently, and even came out and said, basically, that if it were up to him, he'd play that role forever. And yeah, he basically talked about how much he loved playing Snake, and from my standpoint, I love seeing people that are so invested in characters and their job and their involvement in the video game industry. I love that. Trust me, David, we're not handling the news well either, so hang in there. Alright, so show of hands, who's been happy with Square Enix these past few years? Wow, that is not a lot. We're going to have to cancel a lot of that pizza. So if you didn't know, last week the old Square Enix president basically walked out because the company wasn't doing good and lost a lot of money. Now the new president has walked in and he said that he's going to evaluate the company as a whole and start doing things that work and start taking out the things that don't work. Yosuke Matsudo, I think that's the new president's name. But basically he's going to do a complete evaluation of the company and start figuring out what's going to be, what they should start doing and what they should start doing less of. And basically just, reevaluating the company. And let's be fair, Square Enix has done a poor job this console generation. They just weren't as good as they were 6, 7, 8 years ago. If you are a fan of Square Enix, maybe some things will start changing. Maybe we'll start seeing some of the things we actually want to buy from Square Enix. Usually they've been putting out all the stuff that we don't want. But sometimes new leadership is what you need when a company isn't doing well, and hopefully this new president will fix some things. Those are just some of the news stories that I want to talk about this week. I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you for talking with me, and I'll see you next Friday. out.